Welcome to the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show, where we make plant-based cooking easy. I'm Jill, and today we're going to make a crustless quiche.
Grab a plate, 'cause it's the all-free whole food plant-based cooking show.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Scindian Natural Food Products. Scindian is a family-owned and operated Australian company celebrating 20 years in business, making a wide range of affordable plant-based gluten-free products like burgers, sliders, sausages, and more. No preservatives, stabilizers, emulsifiers, or additives. Just clean, minimally processed, whole food ingredients that never compromise on flavor. In the US, you can find Scindian products in many independent health food and specialty grocery stores, and in the freezer aisle at select Meijer stores, or by ordering online at Meijer.com. In Australia, you'll find them online at scindian.com.au and at your local supermarket. Scindian, guided by nature. Okay guys, so this is a really amazing dish, a crustless quiche. So our supporting members get to vote every month on one recipe that I create for them that month, and this was the winning recipe, so a crustless quiche. So we're going to get started. If you want the complete recipe, it'll be in a link in the details below. So I have one large red onion that we are going to saute. We're going to start sauteing, and I'm going to use just a little bit of water instead of oil, because you don't need to use oil to saute your vegetables, because that's a refined oil. It's a refined fat that we don't really need to be eating. And I'm going to cook my mushrooms along with them. So this is a 1 8-ounce box of mushrooms that I just diced up into little bite-sized chunks, and 3 stalks of celery. So those cooking together, when they release their waters, it's going to keep that from sticking to the pan. And mushrooms have, even though they feel very dry, right? They release a lot of water when they cook. So we're going to let that saute for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes till they're nice and soft, and then we'll go on with our other ingredients. Okay, so these are sweated down about as far as I want them to go. And now we're going to add some of our other ingredients. So this was just one medium-sized sweet potato that I diced up pretty small into little chunks. And I have a 1/4 cup of sun-dried tomatoes, same thing that I've diced up really small. And it really doesn't matter the type. You know, there's some in the stores that come in a little thing of oil. You should probably just, drain off as much oil as you can. These are just dried with, I don't even think there's salt on these, so that's pretty nice. And then we have 4 cups of kale that I've just chopped up into little pieces, just the same. This is Lasianto kale or dinosaur kale. You can use whatever kind of kale. You could also use Swiss chard, but I would rather just use kale in this recipe because it's a little less watery, like a spinach. When you cook it, it gets really watery. Swiss chard does too, a little bit, but as long as you cook all of that moisture out of the stuff, it will be pretty okay, because when you bake it into that springform pan, you don't want any more of those juices to be coming out, because it'll make it a kind of a sloppy mess and it won't firm up. So we're just going to cook this for a little bit longer until the kale is all wilted and the sweet potato is just slightly soft. So if this does start sticking a little bit, you can always add just a little bit more water, just a couple tablespoons at a time, and it'll come right off the bottom. Okay, so we're just going to let this cook down for probably about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll add the rest of our ingredients together. While we're waiting for that, I'd like to share with you some background on our show. The Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show is crowdfunded, which means these free weekly recipe videos are made possible in part by the generous patronage of our supporting members. We create this show to share all of the delicious plant-based recipes we use in our own family kitchen, with the hundreds of thousands of viewers just like you who tune in each month from all over the world. Our supporting memberships offer great perks like access to our ebooks and in-depth courses, including our 28-day Plant-Based Made Easy course, where we offer a step-by-step guide to making the switch to a fully plant-based diet. If you love our content, please join us on our mission to share this life-changing message with the world and become a supporting member today by following the link in the description. Okay, let's get back to the show. Okay, so now we're gonna make the sauce mixture that's gonna blend all of this together. So I have a 14-ounce box of extra firm tofu that I've already drained. I'm gonna put that in our blender. And then we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of onion powder, a half teaspoon of turmeric, and that's gonna give it a little bit of that yellowy color because a quiche is typically made with egg, right? So this is an eggless type of quiche. 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, which this is a bit of a mess. A 1/4 of a cup of nutritional yeast. 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, which is about a half of a lemon. One tablespoon of tahini. One tablespoon of Bragg's liquid aminos, or you could use a low sodium soy sauce or tamari sauce. That just gives it a rich salty flavor. 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. And that just gives it another layer of punch of flavor that is so delicious. A 1/2 cup of unsweetened soy milk, or you can use whatever plant milk you choose. Just try to get the unsweetened one because we really don't want that sweet flavor coming into the quiche. And then a 1/4 of a cup, or I'm sorry, 2 tablespoons of arrowroot powder, or you could use cornstarch too. They both work about the same. Okay, so now we're gonna blend this up until it's really, really creamy. Okay, that looks perfect. Super creamy. Looks kind of like a cheese sauce or a bechamel sauce. Okay, so now we've got our cooked vegetables here, and you're gonna have to have a large mixing bowl. So pour your vegetables into the bowl. And I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we're gonna give this a generous sprinkling of pepper in here. You know me, I love my pepper. That just gives it even more flavor. Now all we have to do is pour this sauce in and stir it up. Wow, that is just so pretty and silky. And it's important that you get the extra firm tofu. I've experimented with the other types of tofu like silk tofu or even just firm tofu. And the quiche just doesn't tend to set up quite as firm. So if you use the extra firm tofu, that gives you a little bit more body. Okay. Now we're just gonna stir this up. Mix it really well together. There we go, look at that. It smells so good. Okay, and I have a 9-inch springform pan that I've lined. I just cut some parchment paper and put it around the outside. It doesn't really have to have that because you can loosen it from the side pretty easily with a butter knife. I just find that this makes it the edge look a little bit nicer because when you're going to prepare it, you're going to see the edge too, or when you're serving it, you're going to see that edge. So now we're just going to pour this into the pan. Get all of that goodness out of there. And then you're just going to smooth the top a little bit so it looks nice. Okay, now onto the oven. So we're going to put it into the oven and it's going to take about an hour, but that's really, every oven is just a little bit different. So I would say set your timer for 55 minutes, check it then to make sure that it's really firm and done golden brown on the top. But it usually takes about an hour. So into the oven we go. Okay guys, come on in for a look. This smells amazing. So now you can see exactly what it looks like, what it should look like when it's done. It should be lightly brown, it should be firm to the touch. So all we have left is to do the honors. I'm going to take off this spring form here. It's still a little bit hot. Set that aside and peel off the paper. Oh, well, some of it's sticking to the paper, but that's not too bad. Look at that. So it stood up really nice. It's firm. Oh, that looks great. Perfect. So now all that's left is a taste. So I'm going to grab a plate and a fork, and I'll meet you at the table. Okay, guys, you know this is my absolute favorite part of the show, the tasting part. Wow, if you could smell it in here, this smells so good. This turned out just beautiful. This would be perfect for like a brunch or, you know, lunch. I mean, we're gonna end up eating this for dinner. This will be our family's dinner. But I think this is better as, you know, an afternoon kind of, or midday. It could even be a breakfast. That would be delicious. Whew, look at that. All those veggies. Yum. And probably what would be good on here is maybe a little bit more cracked pepper or a little hot sauce. I always like hot sauce on mine. But I'm going to taste it just by itself. Mmm. Oh my gosh. That is so packed full of flavor. Mmm. And the kale is chewy. Mmm. And I can taste those sun-dried tomatoes. Mmm. Boy, you are going to love this. So definitely give this a try, give this video a like, and I'll see you next time. Mmm. Yeah, that's good.